Close your eyes, exhale, feel your body relax, and let go of whatever you're carrying today.
Well, I'm letting go of the worry that I wouldn't get my new contacts in time for this class. I got them delivered free from 1-800-CONTACTS. Oh my gosh, they're so fast.
And breathe.
Oh, sorry. I almost couldn't breathe when I saw the discount they gave me on my first order. Oh, sorry. Namaste.
Visit 1-800-CONTACTS.com today to save on your first order.
1-800-CONTACTS.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings,
Why are you listening to this show?
the podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
You should get more Trista and Juju in your life. They have great chemistry. The name of the show is Alley Oop. You can find it on YouTube at DLS Hoops. We also have a fellow enjoyer of basketball here. I think it's the ultimate enjoyer of basketball, although Trista and Juju might have some objections. Not you, Tony. Kenny Beecham is the co-founder of Enjoy Basketball, part of the NBA on NBC coverage. He's the host of Numbers on the Board and Small Ball with Kenny Beecham. It airs weekdays on NBC Sports Now and Peacock, as do we. Welcome, Kenny, your maiden voyage on the show. Are you more of an enjoyer of basketball than Juju and Trista? Because I'm being told you're the ultimate enjoyer of basketball.
I think there's room for a lot of people on this boat. I don't know if I'm the captain, but man, anytime somebody tells me they're an enjoyer, I feel great because I feel like there's not many of us left. So thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I think we need to adjudicate something, and I think you, as the ultimate enjoyer of basketball, know the history of this. Dan thinks it's very uncommon to call each other and in sports. I think it's quite normal. I call my own mom a hoe, so if we were playing hoops, listen, anything can go down. Kenny, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, that's what the game is about, right? You know, when
he's right. I like this guy.
Lines,
park their cars
between the lines. You can do and say what you want, but once that buzzer's over and everything's out, you go back to friendship. So I'm team say what you want on the court for sure.
Trista misrepresents me. What I said is that you cannot say after the game that you respect somebody when that is disrespectful.
Semantics. Get between the lines, Le Batard.
Has never been an athlete, Kenny.
You
can obviously tell that. He says I ran, and that's the closest that he's actually doing to running. Are there too many Jalens in the NBA?
I would think that there's actually not enough. I think the 2028 draft class, the entire lottery, should be Jalen's. I think it's the only way we can really counteract and have the Team USA be better than Team World.
Moving on to more disagreeable conversations. Do you believe in this version of the Cleveland Cavaliers with James Harden at the helm?
I see what you're rocking right now, so I'll give you your love. Yeah, I do. I mean, you saw last night how good defensively they can be without two starters. I'm full in, even though James has struggled in many postseason series, as we know. I'm completely in, and I think it might just be like the fact that it's new. You know, the Knicks have been around for a few years. The Pistons can't really score. So give me the new backcourt, and I'm all in on the Cavs.
I've got another thing for you to adjudicate. I'm sorry. I've been besmirching Cade, and I'm going to continue to besmirch Cade. I don't think he's even close to MVP in the universe in the conversation. If he wins the award, I think he needs to give it back, Kenny, because he's not in the same world or stratosphere as Jokic and SGA. What do you think about Cade and the Pistons here? Do you believe in them?
I think that Cade is a phenomenal player, but I would agree that if the 65-game rule prevents us from having Shea or Jokic as MVP, then that shows you that there is a true problem. Last night is a great example of the lows of the lows with Cade Cunningham. I think it was like one made field goal in the second half. And when teams decide to really scheme against the non-shooters on the roster, it can get real ugly. You saw it last year in the playoffs as well versus the Knicks. So I think Cade is a phenomenal player. But he is right now, I think, overtaxed as the only creator on that team. And the Pistons are a team I have just like a little bit of love for when it comes to the postseason, but I don't think they're truly the team that's going to win the championship this year.
Yeah, I agree. Their inability to make any moves at the deadline to me was kind of bad because replacing Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. with Duncan Robinson, who don't even make 2 dribbles, you lose out on that. So I agree with you about them Pistons. Let's get to the real deal topic of the year, Luke Kornet, my brother. Now, overwhelmingly online, people are saying that once you open that door, it's a slippery slope because I agree his sentiment is well placed. But we're going to start caring about women, huh? So we got to look at a lot of stuff in this room. What do you feel about the Luke Kornet situation, bro?
Listen, I think that everybody should be entitled to feel how they feel. I am a personal, I like to get out. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So I feel what he is saying, but I don't know. I feel like that's a bag of worms, man. I have no idea. This is one of those topics that I've been asked a lot about. I'm like, man, yeah, I ain't read the article. I ain't read the blog post. I just act oblivious to the whole situation. So I'm going to let Luke get his points off. I think there are some valid points in there. But ultimately, I think it is a very small problem that the NBA is dealing with.
Let me explain to the audience who might not know. It's not just Luke Kornet. Now, Al Horford is saying that as well, objecting to an Atlanta Hawks promotion that is Magic City related and the idea of them celebrating both strip clubs and lemon pepper wings as a professional franchise. So it's a bag of worms?
Yeah, I mean, I originally saw it and thought about the wings before I thought about anything else. So when I saw the Magic City stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I've had those wings before. But I think it's one of those issues that is an issue, but ultimately not the biggest issue that we should be worried about. It's one night, the way I think about it.
When you look at Magic City and go to their website, it says premier destination for wings. That's what it says. Doesn't say anything about a strip club in there.
Exactly. It should, yeah. As a person from Atlanta, I feel like Magic City is Disney World. You dig? I feel like it should be mentioned in the same breath with Walt. You dig? Greg, what you got, bro?
Kenny, Miami Heat stuck in play-in purgatory down here. Do you agree with Le Batard's contention that Erik Spoelstra should finally be feeling a little bit of heat? A little bit of heat.
Wow.
Don't agree with
that. No, I don't. I don't. I think that sometimes you see a team fire a great head coach with thinking that the grass is going to be greener, and then they spend 10 years trying to find a coach as good as the guy that just fired. I think they've been in purgatory. I'm a Bulls fan, so I've been in purgatory with you over there. I think it starts at the head of the snake, right? Every single year, they're close to signing somebody. They're close to trading for this next superstar, and it never really happens. And every single time this year, it's like, oh, we're better than our record shows. And I think that those 2 finals appearances in the last couple years became fool's gold, where they feel like they can be an 8th seed and make it to the finals every single season. I think you start at the head of the snake before you get rid of one of the premier coaches in basketball.
Pivoting to a team that I actually think is fun to watch, unlike the Heats. The Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan finally sells the team, Kenny. And now we get Knipples. Knipple? Leading the charge. Are they the most fun team in basketball? What do you think about the future of them?
Easily the best 500 team to ever exist this late in the season, right? Think about 2 months worth of them being a top 3 team in that rating. Super fun style of basketball. I kind of saw a little bit of it last year with Charles Lee, but I was too afraid to double down. Last year I had them as a playing team, like, yeah, this is going to be the year. And then they sucked, and I was like, I would never fall for it again. I kind of wish I continued to hold my stock. But they're a fun team to watch, man. I truly think that they're the most fun team in the NBA right now.
They definitely have the most fun announcer. If you haven't heard him, I don't know the brother name, but that
Eric
Collins. He need to be hosting the Oscars. I don't know. We need to tap into his potential. Right. Brother, can the Lakers do any damn thing at all in the postseason this year?
No, I don't think so. I always look at this year as a gap year for them. They're trying to figure out, they got almost $100 million of cap space this offseason. I know a lot of that should go to Austin Reeves, but after that, it's about building around Luka. You have to remember that Luka kind of fell into their lap. And they had a team built for AD and LeBron. It wasn't a well-built team, but it was built for those guys. And you add in a guy like Luka, who changed the dynamic of the entire franchise. This is a team that's good enough to maybe win a playoff series, but ultimately they're not going to do the things that Lakers fans want them to do, which is win a championship. They're like maybe a year or 2 away from being a true contender.
I am curious, as you allow a lot of complacency for the Heat and allow them to continue to be a trash-ass play-in team. You are a fan of a team that is in perpetual mediocrity with a head coach that I feel like is considered a legend. Where are we at with the Bulls right now, Kenny?
Yeah, I think Billy is a legend in college basketball. I think his NBA tenure has had a couple good seasons, but mostly bad seasons. You think about
that was a polite correction.
I mean, multiple national championships, and you get to the league, it's like, okay, we got a couple playoff series appearances, not a ton of playoff series wins. But yeah, we've been in purgatory too. The best thing that happened at this deadline is that we sold on all of the assets. I mean, we sold low, but we sold on all the assets. And just until like 2 days ago, we were on an 11-game losing streak. So we picked a direction, and direction is, instead of being mediocre, just being bad, which could reap some awards in a year or two. And that's what I got to convince myself to continue to watch this team every single night.
Fire him.
Kenny, do you have an AJ Hawk situation going on behind you? Is that a real background? Can you go and get something?
This is 100% real.
Okay, give me the VHS is up top. Okay, give me the VHS is up top. What you got up there?
We got Sports of 97. We got some.
That's minty though. That's crispy. Did you have those or you bought those?
He's accusing you of optics. He's accusing you of having that background purposely chosen, but not really being about it. That's an accusation.
Well, that's not an accusation. I'm just making sure that you know what it is.
What I will say is that I am a collector of vintage sports things. Most of the stuff came from a friend of mine that lives in Arizona, who his entire brand is doing vintage sports stuff. So he provided me with like 90% of the stuff. So I guess you got me there, but I did pick it. I mean,
so you needed 4 Space Jams.
You know about Bout It, Kenny?
The idea is to have the entire row be Space Jam, but I have to pick them up as I find them in the wild. It's a whole scavenger hunt type of situation.
Speaking of Space Jam, lastly from me, LeBron James next year. Everybody seemed to think he's going to Cleveland as some kind of return home. I see the gimmick in my boy. I know my boy. Excuse me. Pardon me. Excuse me.
That's
$5
an emotional
fine
topic.
bucket. Fine bucket. $5 on the fine bucket. Let's make sure that Juju gives that $5 whether he has cash or not. You're not allowed to do that.
That's $5.
Make sure you pay your fine.
You got to pay your fine. The fine bucket is presented by Moneyline. Download the Moneyline app or visit Moneyline.com to learn more. Moneyline. Make money easy.
Well, yeah, I think my boy has conquered Miami. He has conquered L.A. And now I think he wants to conquer the Big Apple. What do you say about LeBron going to the Knicks for his farewell tour?
Do you think the Knicks will want that?
Yes.
Oh, man. I mean, I think, yeah, you're probably right. They probably will
What a
want that,
crazy thing to ask. What a crazy thing you just asked.
Yeah, that's me. I don't know, man. Is LeBron going to be willing to take a minimum? Because that's the only way he goes to Cleveland or he goes to New York. Those are second apron teams. So that's why I feel like LA is still a spot. I mentioned almost $100 million. 40 of those could go to Bron pretty easily, and nobody's going to complain.
Touche.
The Knicks have won 40-plus games 4 straight seasons. That's the first time that's happened in 3 decades. They have fallen in love with that team, but no team with some player the size of Jalen Brunson ever gets to win the championship. Maybe is that different now with threes?
No, I don't think so. I think we're still in that era. Yeah.
What was that?
I had to think about it for a second because I do love Jalen Brunson, but when you're 6'1" and can't defend, it's just tough to win 4 playoff series.
Kenny, as the ultimate enjoyer of basketball, what is something you see out there that people are not enjoying enough about the NBA?
I think that we're not appreciating the official when they get to the camera. I think that, when we spend the 4 minutes, 5 minutes reviewing a random out-of-bounds play, when they get to the microphone, we should all be waiting on our toes to hear what they have to say. We all should be applauding all their great, excellent work out there. So that's what we should be enjoying.
The action figure over your left shoulder, who is that over your left shoulder?
That's Shaq. That's LSU Shaq, right?
Oh, that's LSU Shaq. That's Orlando Magic Shaq. We got a Pacers Barbie down here. I don't know if you can really see that. And then Toon Squad, Michael Jordan, Space Jam.
Should be Halliburton. He airs weekdays on NBC Sports Now and Peacock. He's the host of Numbers on the Board and Small Ball with Kenny Beecham. Kenny, thank you, sir. We appreciate the time.
Thank you all.
Hey, it's Mike Ryan, and I want to talk to you about the random midweek hang that you have with your friends. Maybe it's an NBA game. You get a text, hey, come over, you want to watch the game? And maybe you're like, I don't know. I kind of just wanted to stay home. And then you think about it. After your buddy hits you up, and you know just the thing that'll make that regular hang, that regular midweek hang around the basketball game into a special time, into a Miller time. That's right, this happened to me just last week. I grabbed a 6-pack of Miller Lite, said I was on my way, and next thing you know, we're arguing about rotations like we're on the coaching staff, yelling about a missed call, and the game's coming down to the final possession. It was one of those nights that you look around, You take a sip and you think, yeah, this was the right call. And my friendship's stronger for it. Cheers to legendary moments with Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
People always talk about New Year's resolutions, eat better, work out more, etc., etc. We might still be early in 2026, but I'm sure most of you have already broken your resolutions. Me, I'm still going. My resolutions are simple. Be comfortable, especially at the rink. If you know me, you know that hockey isn't just something I watch, it's something I live. Late nights, cold arenas, long playoff runs, you're on your feet a lot. And if your socks aren't right, you feel it badly. That's why I've been rocking Bombas sports socks. They're cushioned exactly where you need it. Sweat wicking, supportive, basically built for movement. Whether I'm at the game, skating a little myself, or pacing around during overtime like I somehow affect the outcome, they keep me locked in and comfortable. And when I finally get home to break down everything that happened on the ice, Bombas has the everyday stuff too. Slippers, tees, underwear, all ridiculously soft. It's the kind of comfort you don't think about, because you don't have to. Head to Bombas.com/Dan and use code DAN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/DAN. Code DAN.
What are you reaching for? If you're a smoker or dipper, you could be reaching for so much more with Zyn nicotine pouches. When you reach for Zyn, you're reaching for 10 satisfying varieties and 2 strengths for a smoke-free and spit-free experience that lets you lean in, for chances to break free from your routine, and a unique nationwide community. Whatever you're reaching for, reach for it with America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Find your Zyn wherever nicotine products are sold near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Don Batard. I ain't never met nobody in the world that's done hate on Blues
Great
Clues,
nomination.
Bro. Like, who don't like Blues Clues, bro? If you don't like Blues Clues, you're a loser.
Stugats.
Look, you get one paw print. That's the first clue. You put it in a notebook. Now what do you do? Woo! Blues Clues, Blues Clues.
Sit on the chair and think about it.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugats.
I want to get to some sound here because Stephen A. Smith is about to go in on Zion Williamson again on First Take. He's been doing some body shaming of Zion Williamson, and evidently the Pelicans came back at Stephen A. Smith, and the Pelicans, wow, man, what a bad franchise. Just one of those franchises that is nowhere, that is just existing to run around out there with no real purpose.
Zion was the #1 overall pick. Before we get to Stephen A., this is a great beef. Zion was the #1 overall pick in 2019, as hyped coming out of Duke as any player has ever been. We are 7 years later, not a single playoff series victory, perpetually in a rebuild. Zion's a massive bust, right?
Yeah. It's not just that he's been hurt a lot and doesn't always play. He's in shape, and he's not, as their allegedly best player, somebody who's making them any good. If you are what you're supposed to be at that draft pick, even if you're out there by yourself with 4 other guys, you've got to be contending for the playoffs. Yep. You can't always be losing. But let's play Stephen A. Smith here. Zion Williamson is a very easy target, and now Stephen A. is having beef with him.
You got people that are alcoholics. You got people that are drug addicts and stuff like that. What was Zion's problem? Food addict. The joke was everybody in New Orleans, they cooked. It could be everybody from a restaurant, a chef, to your grandmama, all right? Anybody that cooked knew about Zion Williamson, and he knew them. They were on a first-name basis because that brother ate a lot, okay? You even had rumors, and literally, I'm here thinking it was a joke, and somebody told me to go on the air and point out how he got busted hiding food under his bed. This is the kind of stuff that was happening.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Would Dan be 700 pounds if he lived in New Orleans? Because that is a great restaurant city.
So then the Pelicans heard that and put out on social media, hey, Stephen A., stick to solitaire, with a video montage of his athletic achievements, airballing a 3, throwing a terrible first pitch, airballing another 3. I think that was the same one.
I think that is the same one, yes.
His terrible punching from a few years back, another 3. Slipping on the court. So just trolling Stephen A. in a funny way, actually, showing his college stats.
The college stats with the Wilt Chamberlain sign, 1.5 points per game. Can you guys look up the stats for me? Because I'm pretty sure it was a number of games played that would have made 1.5 be impossible, because I for some reason I thought it was one game played. I may have that wrong. They also showed him, as Chris mentioned, slipping on the court, dress shoes on a basketball court. Not a great situation for anybody. But also the training with a trainer and showing on social media that you're training with a trainer and punching very poorly while boxing training.
I mean, Dan, you know about that punching down?
And then Stephen A, of course, sees this trolling, and you know what Stephen A does. Tune in tomorrow on First Take. He tweets out, pulling all this stuff from a decade or 2 decades, 3 decades ago, no problem. See y'all tomorrow on First Take. Remember one thing. You asked for this.
All caps, a lot of exclamation points, lot of punctuation in general there.
First Take could be lit.
And then the Pelicans responded to this with a Max Kellerman gif. Of GIF? Whatever it is, meme. I don't know what this is. It says GIF in the bottom left. So it's just him, Max Kellerman, sipping coffee, waiting for the response. So this is a back and I'm excited for First Take.
We got 2 minutes, Dan. 2 minutes, First Take starts.
Let me ask you this, and I'm not defending Zion Williamson. I think he's been a big bust relative to expectations, no argument. But is this a weird time to be piling on Zion? By his standards, hasn't he had a fairly healthy season?
He's played.
Health-wise, he's having the best year of his career.
And he's averaging 20-plus points. I mean, if you look at him just this season, you don't go, this is a bad player. This is a bust. I think only in the context of expectations, like 7 years later, we're piling on when he's having a fairly healthy season and sort of being pretty good.
And he's played 35 straight games. He does a sit-down with Malika Andrews. As you guys know, I love to besmirch, and I've done my fair share of fat-shaming Zion and his little lawn chair and his Cheetos in his living room.
He likes to get up in those DMs, too, Dan.
He likes to get up.
He
likes to cash app them, allegedly. Whoa. But right now, when you sit down with Malika Andrews, I think it's disrespectful to the 4-letter name.
I will say, though, like, for the and it's funny what the Pelicans are doing, but, you're having a very public beef with Stephen A. Smith. You're 19-44. Like, you're a bullshit franchise. Like, that's...
What's disrespectful to the 4 letters? What exactly are you saying is disrespectful there? Because I think that what Greg is doing there is just looking at numbers, and that is not the proper context. When you draft Zion Williamson that high, when you make him the face of your franchise and make him hope for what Zaz is correctly calling a lifetime bullshit franchise, you have to be relevant. It's not even that you have to get to the playoffs every year. You cannot be invisible. Zion Williamson has disappeared as a name and face, and the reason that people are using against him is that he doesn't care enough because he's the rare basketball player who has been heavy, but he's fit this year.
Well, I think the thing that's crazy is you do this interview, you sit down with Malika, and he says, listen, I'm rehabbing in Portland, my foot's broken, the reason it's broken is not because I'm fat, and all I'm hearing is how fat I am, and how lazy I am, and how gross I am, and so now I'm eating my feelings away, and then that turned me fat. And he sits down, he has this heartfelt thing, and that's when Stephen A. decides to go back onto the Zion fat-shaming train. That's what I think is just kind of crazier than crack.
Well, what's going to happen here in a few minutes is this is going to escalate, and it's going to be the biggest news around the Pelicans that there has been since Chris Paul was traded. That franchise is a nowhere franchise. It has been invisible, and he was supposed to rescue them. It is textbook bust. Greg, it can't be you're scoring 20 points on a team that can't win. It's one of they are wholly irrelevant as a franchise.
Agreed that he's earned the bus rep by not being able to lift that franchise even to mediocrity. All I'm saying is the timing to me is weird when he's on a healthy streak for the first or second time in his whole NBA career. Like, this is a high, you could argue this is a high point for him when you factor in health and along with performance.
I'd go a step further on this, okay? And this is why this happens, and it's why the content machine is undefeated, okay? This is a slow time in sports. And what do you do to goose ratings? You get into a feud with a franchise that's an irrelevant franchise with an easy target. It responds, and it's why Stephen A. Smith is paid the way that he is, because a whole lot of people tune in now to talk Pelicans basketball, when if you're going to talk Pelicans basketball, this is the only thing that can be a furnace of controversy. There's nothing else to talk about there.
Yeah, sort of how you took out Pat Riley in the Heat. I think I see it now, yeah. Good idea. Good job, Dan.
So you asked that man that question. You guys, Kenny Beecham has left here.
Yeah, he defended you, though.
He didn't defend me. He said he disagreed with what was contended as mine, which is that Spoelstra should be on the hot seat. What do you mean? Are you listening to this show? Like, what do you mean he defended me? He did not defend me. They presented an illegitimate question in front of him, and he said, that's crazy, and I respect Dan Le Batard less than I did moments ago because he would say that Spoelstra. And then he said my opinion. Then he reiterated my opinion. There's not someone better than that you can get.
Actually, it was Greg who asked that, not us.
Yeah, don't you listen to the show?
I'm going to let myself out here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for not listening to the show.
Wow.
Zaz, we got a breakdown of Cavs and Pistons in the A block on First Take. No pause.
I figured, because I love a good media beef, all right? Yeah. And Greg's right. It's weird. Like, we just woke up today, let's beef with Zion. Let's call him a foodaholic, you know? It's weird.
Yeah.
But I thought Stephen A. was going to give it to the Pels in the A block. The A block, for those who don't know how TV works, that's the first segment.
To the point of the nothing franchise, he probably pitched it, and they're like, we can't go A block with Pelicans. Pelicans have never been A block. Since they drafted Zion, they haven't been A block.
Stephen A. is literally the executive producer of that show. If he wanted it to be in the A block, see, it's a little bit of a power move, I think, what Stephen A. is doing here. Because in the A block right now on First Take is they're breaking down Pistons and Cavaliers from last night. But this is see, I'm realizing now this is a power move by Stephen A. He could have his retort at the Pels and Zion in the A block, but him not putting it there is showing you they're a bullshit franchise. They're not worth
You're
the
so
A block.
small, it's not even worth it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's worth it, but not on the A block.
Well, the Pelicans aren't worth the A block, but Zion Williamson is, because he's a lightning rod. He's one of the great lightning rods in the NBA right now. Everybody wants to turn him into Greg Oden because he hasn't lived up to expectations. And I, in a way, I feel for the guy. You know, I don't care if he ate himself out of a spectacular career. I feel for the guy, and because he's a lightning rod, this is the perfect beef for Stephen A. Smith.
They do talk about him like he's Oliver Miller, like he's eating himself out of the league. It's 20 points a game. He's good.
35 straight games in a row that he's played.
Yeah. For anybody, 35 straight games in a row is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to put that thing in a Z block because I need these ratings to stay up all show.
Waiting for the Zion beef, just keeping us on bated breath.
That's right. See, it's that too. It's a power move where he's not going to talk about it right away because you're not worth the top of my show.
He's going to put it low in the show and then say, I wish I could have put it lower because you're the Pelicans.
You know what's not a power move? Putting video out of yourself boxing. That never works out good for anybody. Tyler Hero did the same thing, and everybody's clowning him the last time that he did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you put out a boxing video, you need to know how to box.
Someone's had to have put out one that was successful.
You got to be... No, yeah.
Who's
for
the
sure.
celebrity that put out a good boxing
Damian
video?
Lillard, I think, does boxing stuff too. Like, there's guys that do it, but the problem is if you don't do it and you put out the first video of you doing it, you look good.
We should put Greg doing it.
Yeah.
I got to stop doing that.
That sounds like you in the shower.
Are you winded from doing that? I feel like you're winded.
That's my workout.
Shadow boxing, Dan.
Do you know that yesterday's show ended with the sound of his stomach growling from the amount of coffee that he drinks without breakfast? The show ended yesterday with the noise in his stomach. Yeah, the postgame ended.
DraftKings Sportsbook puts you in the middle of basketball's biggest star-driven moments. Bet player props, bet live. And when a game turns fast, DraftKings has your back with early exit. If your player gets injured anytime in the first half, your bet stays alive. And once it settles, you still get paid in cash. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DAN. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's with code DAN. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Don Le Batard.
Billy, somebody has written in here, I need way more.
I'm sorry.
I just said in his headset, haven't you been to all of them too?
It sounded like you were speaking aloud. My bad. Totally on me. That's 100% on me. All right. Yeah.
Stugats.
Well, that goes without saying.
Right.
That it couldn't happen.
Well, no, he said
Well, it didn't. He didn't say it. He said it again.
Yeah, that was just in my head again.
Greg,
My apologies sincere.
Greg, why? Greg.
Yeah.
Greg.
He apologized. I mean,
Greg.
Sincerely.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugats.
In reference to the Pelicans, and Stephen A. says, hold on a second, he's now milking time spent listening. Like he's starting with other things because he wants to keep people around for a while before they get to the Pelicans. I am going to test our basketball experts here, proud as they are, all of them. Go ahead and name for me the memories you have all time of the Pelicans franchise. Go ahead. Give me all of the moments in the history of the franchise, because I'm going to say Anthony Davis getting them into the playoffs as an 8 seed is at the top of the list, but I'm trying to remember some others.
Anthony Davis t-shirt, that's all, folks.
Yes, after him and the coach had a little beef, as well as Chris Paul, ankle breaker and dunker back in the Pelicans jersey. Oops, my bad, the Hornets jersey.
That's crazy to say, though. That's a lot of games being played, and among our basketball experts, when I tell you, go ahead and give me the franchise highlights. Give me the things that you remember about all of the games that they have played all time, because that's the first time we started criticizing Anthony Davis. And by the way, Greg, when you're drafted where Zion is, at the very least, you got to do what Anthony Davis did there, which is win a playoff game on your own, because you can get the team into the playoffs by yourself because you're the marquee franchise player. The idea that Zion Williamson is at 18 wins and all we're ever talking about him with food and the expectations, right? Because the thing about Zion as well that makes this complicated is it's so rare in that sport to see someone that you know is a total physical freak, that is more physically gifted than all of those physically gifted people by body type, where you're watching and you're saying, that man can get into the paint and score on anybody in the history of that sport at whatever he is. What is he? Is he 6'5"? What is he?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, 6'5", probably.
I think 6'6".
Yeah, also, my Pelicans memory is Jimmy Butler didn't score 30 points.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember that.
There are so many nowhere franchises in that sport. I wanted to ask you guys something that surprised me yesterday, and maybe it shouldn't have, because once the FBI comes out and does the very public press conference and does all the stuff that the modern administration is doing, where Terry Rozier is in shackles unnecessarily, or they're throwing the names out there, and I encourage you to check out Pablo Torre Finds Out, because I don't even know the name of another co-conspirator that they revealed, because it wasn't a famous name. The government purposely put the famous names out there. But the thing that I was surprised by, and I don't know if you guys were, because I did not know that this was possible, they're saying, I know it's maximum penalty, and it's probably not going to be that when it gets pled down, that Chauncey Billups is staring at decades in prison, plural, decades in prison. I did not know that. Like I knew that it was bad to fix. I'm sure that Chauncey didn't know that. I'm sure that Chauncey had no idea when he was involved in that game. It sort of reminded me on what it is that happened to Michael Vick, where Michael Vick is dogfighting and has no earthly idea what the consequences are. That otherwise he would have stopped dogfighting. Like it wouldn't have been that important to him. There's just simply no way that he knew that. There is no way that Chauncey Billups knew that the consequences of that were possible decades in prison, because I sure as hell didn't know it.
It said that the maximum he could get was 40 years, 2 20-year sentences.
I mean, maybe he did know that because he was playing with the mafia, and I think that maybe they made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Damn, when you're talking about a RICO charge, like that's what they give mob bosses, right? Like what they've been able to do to put this all together, like linking the mafia, linking these card games, linking you cheating in them, taking a rake, whatever it is. They build a case on you, and it's like, yeah, we're going to give you this. It's crazy.
But you guys, did any of you, none of you were surprised by this? All of you felt like that was...
What did you think he was going to get?
Well, he's not going to get that because it's going to get pled down. Like there's no way, there is no circumstance under which Chauncey Billups is actually going to spend decades in prison, even if they're trying to game the entirety of the system just for publicity. That's not what's going to happen here. I just didn't think that was possible, and I don't believe what Juju is saying, that I don't believe that Chauncey would. There's no way Chauncey would need the grift that much that he would bring upon the consequences that end with a lack of freedom for multiple decades over card games.
But when we're talking about the mafia, it's not the grift that gets you in. It's the hooks that get you in. It's something that they're able to get leverage on you where you say yes one time, and now that's the new leverage, and now there's a second game, and now that's the new leverage. I don't think he was ever there for the money, allegedly.
It's about the action, right? It's about knowing you're the guy that everybody wants to come see. Everybody wants to come play with Chauncey. I'm good at these cards, but I'm also cheating, but nobody really needs to know that. One thing really quick, Dan, to convict under a RICO charge is what they've been brought under. You need to have a couple of things. An enterprise existed, the defendant was associated with it, and they committed at least 2 acts of racketeering within the last 10 years. So it's like all those things are kind of there to have such a big number as far as the years are concerned, because, when you look at 40 years, Chauncey's what? 40-something?
49.
49, okay. You're talking about the rest of his life.
Right, but to answer your question, I didn't expect this. I expected my boy to maybe get a couple months and a big fine or something like that. This is a big surprise to me.
Yeah, but I agree with Dan, and I think what you said is true as well. I always assume that a celebrity defendant is going to get a sweet deal of some sort. I always assume there's going to be a plea bargain. Something's going to happen where, I would almost, I don't know what the over-under is. You can bet on anything, but I would almost bet that Chauncey Billups ends up doing maybe 3 years or less of actual time.
Even that's kind of shocking.
I'd be stunned.
Less than a year, I would bet.
I don't
Money talks.
All right, look, I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm obviously ignorant. I'm already on the front end showing you how ignorant I am, because all of this has been a bit of a surprise to me. But Chauncey Billups getting significant jail time over this, I look forward to what a trial we're never going to get, because he's going to plea out of this. I'd just be stunned if there were multiple years of prison for this. The details would have to be pretty damning for him for someone in his position to agree, because he hasn't even been. Was he fired, or what? Is he?
No, he's on unpaid leave.
Right, because he's got to be guilty in order to be fired. So he's on leave without pay. I'd be really surprised if Chauncey Billups is doing multiple years of hard time.
I think he's going to have to snitch. He's going to have to give somebody up. And the question that I have, because you're talking about, what is it, La Cosa Nostra? La Cosa
You
Nostra?
said it, not me.
Sorry, La
Cosa.
Cosa. There we go. I don't know my mafias. But at that point, you might have to go into witness protection.
Chauncey Billups? That's
Yes.
going to be a little bit hard.
Hard to go on Witsec when you're like, hey, is that Chauncey Billups? No, I'm Bill Murphy.
Wait a second.
Wait a minute. What are you doing in Des Moines?
Let me see that jumper.
You're not Bill. You look suspiciously
Big Shot?
like Big Shot. I love La Cosa Nostra as a saying because this thing of ours on when you're speaking on wires, when you're speaking on federal wires and you're referring to it as this thing of ours, it's got such a nice cryptic mystery to it.
That's why we all love it, La Cosa Nostra.
It's like something you spent a lot of time on to put together, you know? This thing of ours.
This thing of ours. Can you get me the history of the hat tip, please, Tony? I've wanted this for a little bit now.
Dan, I'd love to. All right, so the hat tip, the gesture, the greeting, respect, dates back to medieval Europe around the 14th or 15th century, where a knight in armor would actually tip the little, flap or whatever. They would open it as a sign of respect, be like, hey, I see what you did there on the battlefield. You're my guy.
Not one person has done that to me on Twitter. I reported that to a news weeks ago.
For Westeros.
Nobody gave you the hat tip, huh?
Nope, still waiting.
I wanted to get into something here with you that flew under the radar yesterday. Did you guys see or care about the story that is being reported out of Chicago that veteran center Drew Dalman has retired? And the reason I bring it up is they call him veteran center. He's 27. He's 27 on an offense that's up and coming. That offensive line was good. He just signed his first big contract because he was a fourth-round pick. So he just signed for 3 years, $42 million, which he's not going to get most of, but he got the signing bonus and then got out. 27 years old is about as early as I've seen that done in that sport, and it makes me want to hear from him. I want to... Do you love football? Does your body hurt that much? 27 years old is a lot younger than most. There have been early retirements in that sport. It usually doesn't happen at 27. You're still in your physical prime, ostensibly. And I was surprised by that because he's the centerpiece on an offense for the future. In terms of surprise retirements, I know it's a center. I know we don't care about the offensive lineman. I know it's not Robert Smith or Ricky Williams, a skill position guy. And I know that many players are now retiring earlier than most, but you've got to think that that has something to do with him fearing the physical cost of this, right? It's either that or you don't actually love football that much and just wanted to get to some sort of financial security that you can't get to as a fourth-round pick. So he was their big free agent acquisition at the start of 2025, and now he's out.
So looking at his contract really quick, just to paint the picture. So he got a $6 million signing bonus. Guaranteed at signing, he got $26.5 million. So he played last year. Obviously, this year he's not going to be playing going into 26, but he guaranteed himself $26.5 million, and it's basically like, hey, I'm done.
I think may have always been his plan.
Oh, it may have been his plan, but you don't see that as the plan very often. Mm-hmm. And I think once you do that, I'd be curious what the rules are on a guaranteed contract like that if you have to give any of that back. Because I think if you sign a 3-year deal and the signing bonus is linked to the 3-year deal, even though the team can cut you and those contracts are one-sided, I'd be surprised if that guarantee was for all $26 million.
So the player we're talking about is 27. 2 or 3 years ago, when was it that Tua had that his worst concussion? He's on the field in Cincinnati. His fingers are misshapen because of a brain injury. We all feared for his life at that point. This guy, what is he thinking when he watches that? And what kind of an impact does that have?
I didn't see any quotes from him, but the place that I went immediately when they're calling him a veteran at 27, that's a veteran. He's been playing in the league 4 years. How is that a veteran? It's as early as I've seen this done, and I assume it's the perils of football.
He's a veteran at the bank, Dano.